Hello, this video is going to show you how to work with your sprites and just create your own when you're working with a Scratch project. When you start a new project, mine is untitled currently, you're going to notice that you have one basic sprite. You can do a lot with a sprite. It's called Scratch the Cat, but really it's kind of limiting, and frankly I'm not a cat person, so if I want to get rid of Scratch, I click on the scissors to delete and he goes away. If I want another sprite, my first option is to choose a pre-created one that's in Scratch. You have options between bitmap and vector, more on that later, and you can look at all sorts of different options. I can look at people, and I'm going to be a pretty princess. So I'm going to click OK. And now I have my princess sprite, and I can change her costume. So right now I can see that her costume is like this purple and blue in different colors, and she has yellow hair. If I want to change something, I can click on my paint bucket and say I'm going to choose orange. That's so much better. She's now a redhead. Of course I goofed and made her face kind of orange. Let's try that once more. There we go. So you can see that you can click on different areas. I could change the color of her dress. I can change the color of, her shoes. She can have one purple shoe, one lavender shoe. You get the idea. So you can do quite a bit with that. This one is a vector image, and by vector, what that means is that you can scale it and make it larger or smaller, or you can zoom in quite a bit, and you're not even going to see any jaggedness on the edges. Okay, I'm going to pull in another sprite that is a bitmap image. So if I go to bitmap, it gives you a few features, and I'm going to choose, I love cars, so I'm going to choose this convertible. Click OK, and let's see, looks like the car's going to be right on top of her. All right, so if I go into costumes, I can take a closer look at that car, and I can zoom in. I'm actually partial to blue, but if I wanted to change the color again, I would go to my little paint bucket and I can make it pink. But notice what happened. Because this is a bitmap image, which is essentially a bunch of little boxes filled in with different colors, it only chose that particular shade of blue in that area. I can tap it in multiple places, and now if I zoom out, you see what it looks like. I'm going to do Control Z to undo. And if you look at it closely, you can see that there's a lighter blue and a darker blue and a really dark blue before you get to the black. You see those gradations because it's a bitmap image. So depending on what you're doing, a bitmap can be perfectly fine, but when you're coming down to editing and doing the different things with colors, a vector is going to be a little easier to work with. So just keep that in mind. Another way I can get some sprites is to actually just draw them. So I'm going to click on my paintbrush to paint a new sprite. And I happen to have a computer with a touchscreen, so I can go in and choose my paintbrush, and I'm actually going to work with a vector image because I find that easier just for drawing. And I'm going to choose red, and let's make believe this is a Valentine. So I've got my lovely heart, and now if I want to fill that in, it's all set. Looks like I have a little gap because my lines overlapped. I can fill that in as well if I get to just the right little spots. Okay, so, okay, easier said than done. You get the idea. So now I've got this giant image. I can also go in and upload a sprite from a file. So if I have an image saved, oh great, I've got a picture of my dog on my desktop. I can pull that in, and if I go to costumes, by default, most things are going to end up being bitmaps. And say I just want part of Tanner, I can use my eraser. I go down to the lower left to make it smaller or wider depending on the detail I need. And say I just want to get Tanner's head. Here I go. You get the idea. So I can erase all those little bits and pieces. And I'm not going to take all the time to do his whole head, but you get the idea. If I want to get finer details, I could go in and get those without lopping off his ear and making him look like a little Van Gogh kind of dog. You get the idea. The last thing I can do is work with my webcam. So I'm going to click on my camera. This is going to activate Adobe Flash. I need to do allow. You may also get another allow that comes up in this area the first time you use it. You can see my face coming in. I can do save. I'm in a pretty well lit room, so you can see the detail of my face. If I had light behind me, my face would be really dark. If I have the light in front of me, you're going to see more detail on my face. I can go to costumes, and now this is where you get to have a lot of fun. And I've always wanted to know what I look like with facial hair, so here I go. I'm going to give myself some serious eyebrows. I've been teaching for over 20 years. I'm sure this isn't the first time this has happened to a picture of me. So you get the idea. So those are some different ways that we can make our sprites. If you have questions, you can check out the help information that's in Scratch by clicking on our little help, and you can find out help with our blocks, and that can make it a lot easier. You could also go out to the help pages that are provided by your teacher. Let me know if you have any questions. Enjoy!